Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're taking a really fascinating shortcut to insight.
Mm.
We aren't, wading through dense academic journals or these long manifestos.
Right.
Instead, we're deep diving into the most distilled form of knowledge, the high-impact conversational framework.
That's exactly right. Our source material today is just a series of four incredibly brief dialogues.
Super brief.
Yeah, simple, short exchanges. And they're designed specifically to get across these core motivational principles in their most kind of punchy, actionable form.
So they're like verbal blueprints for change.
Stripped down to the bone. That's a good way to put it.
And our mission really is to extract the universal wisdom that's sort of embedded in these rapid-fire conversations. What happens when you strip motivation down to its bare essentials?
Yeah, and maybe more importantly,
And crucially, how do you overcome that feeling of inertia or just persistent fatigue using just a few perfectly crafted words?
we're looking for those key nuggets of knowledge that are immediately applicable. So whether you're facing a massive project or maybe you're struggling to start a new habit or even just trying to get over daily procrastination, this deep dive is going to give you a toolbox
A toolbox of concise, powerful phrases.
ready for instant deployment. And you don't just get the advice.
Mm.
We're going to analyze why that specific advice works
Mhm.
based on the underlying behavioral science.
Okay, so let's jump right into the first one, conversation one. This one, it hits right at the feeling we all know so well,
Oh, yeah.
the desire to change, but it's coupled with that frustration of being completely stuck.
This is the starting line, isn't it?
Mhm.
For all meaningful self-improvement. The scenario is so clear. Someone says, I feel like I'm stuck. I want to improve my life.
Which is a huge, overwhelming goal.
Massive. And the natural sort of instinctual response for most of us is to start planning this huge, life-altering overhaul.
Which is precisely where the wheels usually fall off.
Right.
We spend all our energy planning the big thing and then none actually starting it.
Exactly. When the goal is just vaguely defined as improve my life, the cognitive load is just immense.
What do you mean by cognitive load?
It's the psychological friction, It's caused by having too many variables, too many decisions to make. Your brain just sees the sheer scope of the project, it calculates the potential for failure, and it just activates resistance. It's just easier to stay on the couch.
But the advice in the source, it completely sidesteps that. The key question isn't, what's your 10-point plan for massive change?
Okay.
It's dramatically simpler. It's just, what's one small thing you can do today?
And that shift is, it's revolutionary in its simplicity. By narrowing the focus to one small thing today, you radically lower the barrier to entry. We call it minimizing activation energy.
And the person in the dialogue, they respond with something totally manageable. They say, I can learn something new.
It's thing achievable.
But doesn't focusing on just one small thing, doesn't that risk minimizing the overall vision? Where's the accountability for the massive improve my life goal?
That's a critical question. But the small step isn't the final destination.
It's the spark.
It's the spark for momentum. When you commit to a huge goal, your fear of failure is just amplified. But when you commit to something tiny, like, reading one article or doing one push-up, you bypass the fear center in your brain.
The task is too small to fail at.
It's too small to fail, and the immediate success builds what behavioral scientists call evidence of success.
So you're essentially tricking your brain into starting by making the first task almost laughably small.
Precisely. And the immediate validation in the dialogue is so key. It says, perfect. Small actions create big results. Keep going.
That phrase is the whole philosophy right there.
It is. It confirms that the one small action wasn't trivial. It was the critical initiation point. You break the cycle of inertia. You prove that you are, in fact, capable of forward movement. It's all about building psychological capital, starting with the smallest possible deposit.
That initial step is so powerful because it gets you over the fear of the blank slate. But what happens after that initial burst of energy? We've all felt that high, fade.
Right.
And that brings us perfectly to the challenge in conversation too.
And this one addresses that inevitable wall of fatigue and self-doubt.
Yeah.
The person just says, I'm tired, I feel like giving up.
And this is where most traditional motivation just fails because it demands you push harder or feel guilty.
Yeah, just do it.
But the reframing insight here is so counterintuitive. And it's incredibly supportive. It says, don't give up. You're closer than you think.
That phrase, you're closer than you think, is just a brilliant psychological tool. When we're tired, our perception of distance gets all distorted. the goal feels infinitely far away.
Mm-hmm.
This assertion immediately shifts your focus from your current discomfort, your fatigue, to your proximity to success.
It's leveraging something a little tricky, though, isn't it? It feels like it's using the feeling of the sunk cost fallacy. Can you unpack that a bit?
Absolutely. So the sunk cost fallacy, in standard terms, is when we keep investing time or resources into a failing effort just because we've already invested so much.
Right, like sitting through a terrible movie because you already paid for the ticket.
Exactly that. But here, this framework uses that human tendency positively by saying, you're closer than you think. The dialogue makes you realize that abandoning the effort now wastes all the progress you've already made.
So it turns the pain of past effort into leverage.
Positive leverage. It shifts the focus from this hurts now to if I stop now, all that past effort was for nothing. You're using your own investment as motivation to just get to the finish line.
That makes continuing feel rational, not just stubborn. And then the conversation reinforces the value of every single step, no matter how slow. It says, every step you take makes you stronger. Keep moving.
And that's the practical truth of resilience, both physical and mental. Strength isn't built during the easy, energized moments. It's built when you're pushing just past a previous limit. When you feel tired, that fatigue is empirical evidence that you are getting stronger, that you're adapting.
It reframes the whole experience.
It reframes persistence, not as this grueling duty, but as an active compounding process of strength building. The effort itself becomes the reward.
So for the listener, whether they're, I don't know, learning new software or training for an event, the takeaway is that just continuing, even slowly, is inherently beneficial.
Because it's actively forging resilience.
The consistency of the effort is its own reward.
And consistency of effort leads us perfectly into the next barrier, which is captured in conversation 3, self-doubt.
Right.
You might be persistent, but then you look at the complexity of the task and you just think, I don't know if I can do it.
That doubt barrier is paralyzing. It attacks the very foundation of your motivation, your own capability.
It does.
And the immediate response in the source is so firm and so necessary. You can believe in yourself. That self-belief is treated as a precondition for action.
It absolutely is. Self-belief is the fuel. It gets you to the starting line. But if belief were the only thing required, we would all be achieving our goals flawlessly.
Good point.
And the dialogue recognizes that. It knows belief alone isn't enough. You need an actionable standard. So the conversation quickly shifts from the emotional barrier of, can I do it, to an achievable commitment. I want to try my best.
And this is where the ultimate standard is set. This phrase is just crucial for anyone who struggles with analysis paralysis or, chronic perfectionism.
Oh, definitely.
That's all you need, effort, not perfection.
This is a mechanism for mental freedom, pure and simple. Perfection is an impossible external standard. It's a moving target, right? It's often defined by others or by some idealized image in your head.
And if your goal is perfection, you hesitate to even start.
You hesitate, you stagnate, you know you can never truly meet it.
So prioritizing effort over perfection gives the power back to you, to the individual.
Precisely. Effort is entirely internal. It's controllable. When your goal is effort, you give yourself permission to learn, to fail, to make mistakes, and to adjust. Which is, ironically, the fastest way to achieve high quality.
So the discussion moves the goalpost.
Yeah.
It goes from, did I get a flawless outcome, which is often out of your control,
Right.
to, did I put in my best effort today?
And that is a standard you can meet every single day.
It provides so much clarity, too. If you're struggling with something, the solution isn't to beat yourself up over quality. It's just to reaffirm that commitment to try your best right now.
It creates a sustainable system. You try your best, it doesn't work, you just adjust the effort tomorrow. It removes the emotional weight of failure.
And tying all these themes together, the small starts, recognizing you're close, focusing on effort, that requires the final essential element from our last dialogue, consistency.
Yes. Conversation 4 addresses the impatient goal setter. The person who says, I want to learn English fast, or really, I want to achieve X fast. We're just conditioned to crave immediate results.
And that necessary balancing wisdom comes through right away. Learning takes time. Stay consistent. It manages the expectation of speed while redirecting the energy toward the most important variable.
Which isn't intensity.
It's consistency.
But the real genius here is that the conversation doesn't just stop at the abstract concept. When the person asks, how much should I practice? The advice is super specific and incredibly low stakes.
I love this part.
It says just 10 minutes every day. Small habits matter.
Why that specific number? Why 10 minutes? Why not 20 or 30? What's so powerful about
Oh,
10?
because it minimizes that activation energy we talked about.
Yeah.
10 minutes is psychologically trivial.
Right.
It's too short to justify resistance or dread.
And it's too short to really disrupt your schedule.
Right. James Clear, in his work on atomic habits, he emphasizes making the task ridiculously easy. If you commit to an hour of practice, your brain immediately starts flagging conflicts. I don't have an hour, I'm too tired, I'll start tomorrow.
But 10 minutes, that doesn't trigger the fear response. You can always find 10 minutes.
Exactly. The commitment is designed to make the action feel lighter than the effort required to procrastinate. The goal isn't really the 10 minutes of learning itself. The goal is performing the action consistently to cement the habit.
So it avoids the all or nothing trap.
Completely.
If I commit to an hour and I miss a day, I feel like a failure and I might just quit the whole system. But if I miss 10 minutes, I can just jump back in tomorrow. There's no massive psychological burden.
And the neuroscience supports this entirely. Those consistent, daily 10-minute efforts build positive feedback loops and neural pathways that are far stronger, far more reliable than sporadic, intense marathon sessions.
Consistency creates automaticity.
It does. And when the action becomes automatic, you stop spending willpower on deciding to do it, and you start using that willpower on the quality of the effort itself.
Which means a person who practices English for 10 minutes every day for 6 months will ultimately be way more successful than someone who crams for 4 hours every Saturday for a month.
Because the consistent habit lasts. The 10 minutes makes the habit sticky. It's the minimum viable commitment needed to create long-term structural change. It shows that the variable that matters most isn't how much you do, but how often you do it.
So if we synthesize the wisdom across these 4 really distilled conversations, we've basically built a powerful, concise, and sustainable philosophy for motivational action.
We have. It's a complete system. It's built on manageability and forward momentum. The system dictates, start small to overcome inertia.
Use your past effort as leverage when you're tired.
Focus entirely on effort over the impossible standard of perfection.
And anchor it all with consistency, even if it feels trivial, like 10 minutes a day.
It reframes difficulty. It's not a sign of failure, but proof of strength and progress. And the source material provides this beautiful concluding affirmation that brings all these ideas together.
Yeah, we want to leave you, the listener, with these 3 final reinforcing points.
Carry these truths with you every day.
You are improving.
You are learning.
You are growing every day. That's the ultimate message of consistency and effort combined, the constant affirmation of forward movement.
It's truly amazing how much practical, actionable behavioral science can be packed into such simple conversational exchanges. It proves that the foundation of high-level motivation doesn't require some complex lecture.
No.
It just requires the right prompt at the right time.
Absolutely. We've really distilled it down to the essential ingredients. And if we took one idea forward, let's go back to that consistency mandate. We spent a lot of time talking about applying the 10 minutes every day rule to a new skill or a difficult task.
But the principle is universal, right?
Yeah.
It extends far beyond active learning.
So I want to challenge you, the listener, to identify one area in your life where you can apply that 10 minutes every day rule, but not to a growth project. Apply it to maintenance or self-care.
Oh, that's a great application.
Maybe it's 10 minutes of quiet, device-free reflection, or 10 minutes of stretching to maintain mobility, or just 10 minutes tidying one specific area of your home to maintain sanity.
The same mechanism that builds knowledge also builds stability. Small, dependable habits create a baseline of consistency in life that prevents burnout. It provides mental friction against chaos. Apply the power of the small start to maintaining what you already value.
That is a great thought to leave with. Thank you for joining us as we took this deep dive into the structure of simple, high-impact motivation. We hope these nuggets help you keep moving forward 10 minutes at a time.